Yeah, I am. I'm ready whenever you guys
All
are.
right, cool.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, awesome. All right, let's get started then. So good morning or good afternoon, everyone. My name's Jackie, and today I have Fats and Guido with me. Both of them are console players, I believe. And so let's get started off. I guess I'll give some time for both of these individuals to introduce who they are and what they do in the BDO community, essentially.
I guess I'll just go first then. I'm a pretty much a player on console, Xbox, NA. I'm a Berserker player. Been playing Berserker for 3 years. I'm involved in the PvP scene, BA, GVGs, Node War Siege, pretty much all of that. Pretty much just stream PvP.
Just about the same. I'm also a console player. I played Musa, Succession Caster, Succession Witch, and Succession Wizard. Now I'm on Sage because the class is broken, but same thing. GVG's Siege from Sacred. We're both from Sacred. That's about it.
Yep.
All right, awesome. Okay, so the point of this podcast is to kind of go through. I'm not sure if people are aware, but recently this weekend, there was a huge issue with Siege where essentially a couple regions, I think the Russian server and the C server, had sieges where people were disconnecting to a level where it was unplayable. And then what happened after that is Pearl Abyss did an announcement where they said there was like canceling Siege for all the regions essentially on PC. I don't think console was affected by this though, right?
No.
No.
Yep. So essentially, EU Siege was cancelled, NA Siege was cancelled, which was unfortunate because had some pretty sick fights lined up. And not only that, but also essentially, Node Wars are kind of fucked up right now as well, because if you held a node or fort from last week, that fort is still there, and then apparently there's some issues with people being unyesed up during the middle of Node War. I'll just show a clip real quick just to give you guys some context, right? Um, just let me switch screens. So there was a Reddit post made today, um, where it's like, sorry, this entire guild getting unsigned right before a big fight, causing us to straight up lose. So here's the stream ball.
Blizzard's meteors, they're
Oh.
super stacked. This is fucking RW.
And as you can
Just
see,
straight
he's
up,
like,
straight up, boys. Okay, we're fucking
Why am I
actually
not
obviously-
taking any damage? I'm
just
not
salvage
fucking
it's
Fight them,
obviously
fight
Q buffing them, right? And then it's just they're
Yeah.
not taking any damage because he's unyesed up from the war. And here you hear the shot
Again,
caller
yes again.
telling people to yes up again.
Click
Click
yes
yes
again.
on the fucking
Yeah.
chat.
We're
Click
both
yes.
Click yes,
down.
yes.
That good
Click yes.
only
You guys are all bugged. Click
a
yes.
town.
I had to collect my reward again and click
Shiro,
yes.
tell everyone
was,
to click
I had
yes
no,
again.
Click
I
yes,
couldn't
apparently
click
they fucked up the node. Blizzard's meteors, they're super stacked. This is fucking
Yep. And then there was also another video. It's a participation bug. I'll just mute it real quick, so you don't need to hear the music. But essentially, you can see. I'm not sure which region this is. But pretty sure this is Siege, and you can see what happens here. There's one guild called Rhyme engaging another guild, and they're not doing. The Sork is clearly not doing any damage at all, and they are just getting hard wiped by Monkey. I think this is EU actually, and they not only that. So this is a node war. Not only that, but they also can't respawn properly as well. So the respawn town, and obviously they're not yesed up. So yeah, so they can't hit their war targets essentially. So my point is here, right? That people spend a lot of time, officers spend a lot of time organizing, planting, scouting for node wars, and members spend time showing up for events like this. And this isn't the first time it has happened, right? So my issue is on broader scales. Like the QA testing in this game is just absolutely awful trash, in my opinion. And in the future, they might release a update or patch which is like worse than this, which might, you know, just completely break the game entirely. You know. So I just want to get your thoughts and opinions, Bats and Guido, on this issue. Let me know what you guys think, essentially.
If Fats, you want to go first?
No, I'm gonna let you go. You can go. So I'm just chilling now.
Okay. So you're talking about specifically for Node War Siege,
Yep.
or just in general with QA?
Just specifically for large-scale PvP. So mainly Node Wars and Siege, yes.
Whoa, my bad. I think my internet got fucked up. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right. I didn't get your response. You're talking about specifically.
So pretty
Node War
much
Siege
just
or-
for Node War and Siege. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like I was telling you before, I don't know if the stream picked me up when I was talking about the thing with PS4, but it's just crazy to me these kinds of things. You know, like a lot of you guys just saw on Jackie's stream with how the forts couldn't be damaged. You know, that was done on PS4 for weeks at a time, where they couldn't damage any forts in Node War or Siege. And it's just crazy to me that these kinds of things aren't fixed immediately. And they're just left kind of in the game to just manifest itself for weeks at a time on console. It was, and that ultimately killed the PS4 side of the game, which is really depressing. Definitely not good.
That happened for like more than months too. Just
Oh,
legit
yeah,
PS4
got
guilds
longer
started
than I
dying out
yeah longer than I thought.
and started joining actual or Xbox guilds because they actually couldn't do anything. So, and that wasn't patched for like I said, a month or plus. It was actual dog shit.
So you're saying, sorry, so you're saying essentially that for a month straight, people couldn't like actually Node War or Siege on PS4.
Okay, so when console merge happened, Xbox players could do everything. Like it was fine. You could attack the forts, everything was fine. PS4 and PS5 could not touch the forts at all. Like they couldn't physically do damage. Their abilities weren't registering to the forts itself. They could kill players, so they were 100% signed up, but they could not touch the enemy fort. So you could farm a guild, but you can't touch the enemy fort. There was a specific way to work around it, but I think it was like only horse chargers or maybe only cannon fire that actually did actual damage to the fort itself, and that only goes to obviously 50%. So they just lost every single node war for like a month plus straight.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm. That literally killed the PS4 guilds entirely
Yeah,
itself.
The problem that I have with that, it's like do you not like you don't write anything about it or like adventures we apologize, you know what I mean? It's a big deal, you know what I mean? It's not something to just kind of like, oh yeah, you know, we apologize, you know. It's a really big deal, you know. That's a lot of people don't play the game anymore. That side of the game, it's a very big deal.
Yeah, like for example, this or last weekend, like there's literally hundreds, if not like 1 or 2,000 people that were affected, or thousands of people that were affected by Siege just being cancelled straight up. Like, and all we got essentially is just a post by Pearl Abyss saying we're sorry for any inconvenience caused. Like, it's just not good enough. Like, imagine if they roll out a patch, right, which just literally just destroys the game in terms from PvP sense. Like it's just, I think there was also that issue. I don't know if you guys remember where the nodes paid out trillions of silver on
Yes.
PC,
Remember that.
and like game bugs like that destroy the game. Like it can be simple as one line of code which just completely destroy the entire game because if you continuously just waste people's time, for example, what happened with PS4, then people just don't want to play the game anymore. They'll find something else to play, and yeah, I don't think it's acceptable at all. Like the poor state of especially large scale QA testing right now.
I have 2 questions to ask you. So first off, with that thing with trillions of silver being made, I know that was a good bit while ago, but was that hot fixed or did that also take a couple of weeks?
No, that was like pretty much immediately patched. But that's only because it was very public. It became really publicized. Sorry. But yeah, it was fixed pretty quick. Like you have to fix the issue like that pretty quick, or else the game's just gonna die, right? Like imagine trillions of silver being injected into the marketplace and nothing being done about that. But yeah, it's just that's just one example. But you know, today's another. Like yesterday was another big example, and even right now, guilds that own a fort from last week, they can't do Node War today because they still have a fort existing. Like they can't actually drop a fort apparently. So
Thanks.
Wow. And my second question to you is, if what happened to PS4 happened to PC, what do you think would happen?
I mean the game, well, like large scale would just be dead. Like Node War Siege would be dead. Like why would you go to Node War Siege if like you can just, if you want to just PvP, just go to a GVG. Like if you can't really even kill the fort, like what's the point?
Mm. That's actually literally why the PS4 guilds started leaving. PS4 players started leaving, joining Xbox guilds because of that. Like why? And it was Siege as well. It wasn't just Node Wars, Siege and Node Wars, that they couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So
All right. So okay.
Unreal to, like
Yep.
even say that, how it just doesn't get fixed. And I know that like obviously console has different certification to go with it than PC, Microsoft and Sony, but still that's a major game breaking issue.
Yeah, it definitely is. And also on that note as well, I don't like how they're just releasing new classes without properly testing them on global labs before they introduce even these.
Yeah.
Like, have you guys noticed with Sage?
It definitely Sage is a
Yeah.
clear example of that.
Like-
I mean, I have
is a
experience
super
on the
example.
receiving end of that,
Super
but
example.
Fats definitely mains him.
Like
He
he's
he's
like I
pretty
don't
unbiased when it comes to telling it how it is.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about that,
like I don't know how it is on PC obviously because I don't play there, but for console at least, it's gotten to the point where like I would say majority of the casters or majority of the players have actually swapped to Siege. Like yesterday as well, our Siege we merked out for Balanos, and I would say 70% of the players, 60% of the players were like all on Sage, and that's like 6 forts on Balanos. There were nothing but sages. Like it's to the point where like if you go to a GVG and one side has a sage and the other side does not, it's just over. Like the side with the sage just wins completely, and that's the same way it is with Nodeware and Siege. If one side has 10 sages, 5 sages, that side wins. It's not even strategic anymore. It's just like it's just a broken class in its state. It's to the point where it does too much damage. It just iframes too well. The E buff is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like the buffs it's getting, the nerfs it's getting is good, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's too late. Like it's literally ruining Node versus
Yeah.
Siege for players where people are uninstalling their game on console to go ahead and wait for the nerfs. Like they're literally not playing Siege or GVGs. They're not coming to anything. They're just waiting for the nerfs, and then they'll start playing again.
So yeah, we talked about the Sage, state of Sage and all, but what I'm specifically more concerned about is that they release these new classes and all these new balance updates, like all these like 3 or 4 pages worth of buffs, right? And changes, and they don't test this shit properly on global labs. They don't get any feedback about it, and so they release a class which is, you know, balanced and seems to be doing okay, but nobody plays a balanced class in BDO. Everyone wants to play the most broken OP class, right?
Right.
So they see these statistics and like, okay, how can we get people to spend more money and more like reroll coupons, inventory, all that shit, so that, you know, we can boost up our stock prices, which is falling right now, by the way. So it's just a bad approach to game design and game balance when they don't properly test out shit with new classes and new updates, and they just throw this onto live servers, and then it literally just breaks the game, like literally, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that I've noticed, especially if you read those patch notes, what they state, if I don't know if you saw it or if anybody in the stream saw it, they stated that pretty much Sage had a 2.5 times higher KD ratio, which shows to me that they are only looking and they seem to only be balancing around numbers, analytics, numbers. They're not really looking at gameplay when they're looking at these kinds of things. They're not looking at, they're just purely looking at, okay, what is it doing here? They're not looking at it like, how is it actually acting in game, or how could it act in game?
Yeah, a prime example of that is Awakening Wizard, for example. Because I've been playing Wizard for 3 to 4 years now. I played Awakening Wizard for 2+ years, and that's exactly your point. Is that they're doing these balance updates just based on numbers, right? They're like, oh, why are more people playing Succession than Awakening? Oh, let's just give Awakening Wizard more damage on skills that literally almost one-shot people with E-buff up. And then, so like, they don't understand the core issue of Awakening Wizard. It was never that it didn't do enough damage. It's literally like one of the best SA trading classes, hardest hitting classes in the game. It's a slow class. It's like literally immobile after it teleports, and those were always its 2 biggest issues, right? So, like, just straight up, I'd rather they just straight up didn't do anything rather than give it more damage, because that was never the issue, or never what players wanted with the class. Like, they just don't understand what they need to balance or adjust with these classes, right?
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, every update, look at what's being done. It's just damage numbers. Okay, we're gonna nerf these. We're gonna nerf this. Okay, then we're gonna buff this. Okay, we're gonna take away this damage, and then we're gonna add it in. Like, they're not. That's all they do. Like,
it's literally like almost all the Awakening classes are literally getting huge damage buffs. Some of the Succession classes are being not even worked on, and it's just like adding more damage to the point where, like you said, it's just you're already one-shotting somebody. You're just gonna, like, what's the point of adding more?
Yeah, like the biggest, the buffs on Global Labs, the biggest one I don't understand is why is Succession Mystic getting buffed so much? Like, I don't understand. The class Mystic was already like a really strong class. Like, literally gonna make it to the point where it's way overtuned. Like, I just, like, even the people that play Mystic don't even agree with the buffs. They just want it because it makes the class more OP.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's the same thing with DK too. DK is getting ridiculous buffs as well.
yeah,
So
I'm pretty
it's
nervous.
Become, like, DK is going to be really strong as well.
Yeah.
Along with Mystic. Some classes that are already like super strong right now are getting ridiculous damage buffs and stuff. It's kind of crazy. And I've seen some of like the Awakening Sage buffs. Some of it's not needed. If it does roll out, it's going to be a really strong class as well, to the point where it's going to be replacing Succession Sage. It doesn't seem like they're actually doing anything. It just seems like they're slapping more damage numbers and fucking increasing shit.
And it was the same thing. It was actually the same thing with, remember when they released the class damage modifiers?
Yes.
Like, I had no idea why they, like, I think Wizards to Witches is like 130 or 140% damage modifiers. Like, why would you do that? It's like, literally just makes it a one-shot class when you're fighting each other. Like, it doesn't make 1v1s fun. It doesn't make large-scale fun. Doesn't make anything fun when I just roll up with one E-buff media and I one-shot like 4 or 5 people, like other casters. Like, I think I talked with Mizop and his friend last time, and they're also talking about how, after the class damage modifiers were introduced onto console, like, people were just literally one-shotting each other. Like, it was such a huge change for console.
Yeah, it was a meme. Because we I don't even think at the time we didn't even have Kaffers yet, right?
No.
Yeah, we didn't even have Kaffers yet, and we were just running around, just blowing people up, just beaming people. It was just So crazy.
It was literally whoever's Voltaic or Cataclysm registered first was winning the fight. It was just retarded. Like you didn't need to do anything special besides just make sure yours ability went off first, and the other person was just dead.
Yeah. And also, I don't understand why would you introduce such the class damage modifiers, and then only cap it's like they don't understand how the game works. Like only cap pen armors to C5. Like, while you have people running like throw 9 AP or pen Blackstar, and all you can do against it is like full pen C5 armors. Like it's just.
Literally what's right now. The full pen Blackstar 311 AP people that are just running around. They are literally just one skilling people. And there's, like you said, there's physically nothing you could do. Unless you go full DP meme, there's nothing you can do against the fucking full pen Blackstar 311 AP. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's literally like you said. It's almost as if you know. I'm not trying to bash them or anything. I'm saying like it's almost like they're a little bit out of touch to think that nobody would ever reach Pen Blackstar within the first week or 2 weeks of on console, and that because they on stream they're like yeah they were just joking around like it'll never happen. And they came out and the stream after that they apologized because they just didn't believe that it would happen, and now we're dealing with limited Kafra levels with Pen Blackstar. It's such a meme. Just literally like that said, nothing you can do. And it's these kinds of things that come out, like you were saying about the QA teams. I kind of wonder if they're really even experienced in what we're talking about at all.
Yeah, they can't be, because if they knew anything or like even were part of the large scale PvP state in this game, they would not roll out. For example, right? I don't know if you guys have paid any attention to the new Node War changes on Global Labs or in KR.
Oh yeah, we're
right.
stalking it. Yeah.
Essentially every person I've talked to in the KR region that even remotely does Node War and Siege just said they absolutely hate the new Node War system, and it's pretty much dead in KR, even more than it was before. Like no one, like one guild owns 5 regions, and every single region is just 1 or 2 guilds owning all the territories, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
And
people were saying that it was a bug. Is that true, or is it actually, or that's how?
It's not a bug. It's true. It's true. I saw it on stream. And what the point I'm trying to make here is that these developers are rolling out changes. Like, by the way, those Node War changes probably cost them like a lot of money to develop and reshape the Node War system, right? And now it's just they've seen what it's done to the KR Node War scene and Siege scene, so they have to rework it or redo it, which is going to cost more time and money, right? And it's just like, if you literally just selected like members within the community that know what they're talking about, because we've been part of it for 3 or 4 years, that can actually provide you with some good pointers on how to properly balance and make changes that's actually good and fun for the game. Like, you wouldn't have this fucking issue, right? And so my point is that, like, I don't understand who's giving them this advice. I don't know why they think these kind of changes are good for the state of the game. Like, the population is nowhere near active enough. Maybe if you rolled out those no war changes like 3 or 4 years ago, it might have worked, right? But not at the state it is right now. Like, for example, NA, it has literally 5 siege guilds left. Probably like 5 or 6 siege guilds. And there's like already 5 regions. So like 1 siege guild per region. Like, how do you...
Yeah.
I don't...
Yeah. Console's the same way. Like, we're literally bleeding members. Like, there is actually just, like, if you want to just qualify 1 siege guild, it's literally 1 siege guild right now on console that is only going after Calpion. Like, there is no other siege guilds that actually want to even do anything. They're not even siege guilds. It's just 1, I guess 2 maybe, but it's just bleeding members to the point where most guilds can't even hold 100 members. Most guilds actually don't have 100 members.
Yeah.
Like, there's maybe like 2 or 3 that actually have 100. Maybe even 2. I think the 3 was a little cap.
Yeah, I mean, there's really, and I've stated this so many times, even on my own stream, they don't really give you an incentive to Siege and Node War. Nobody, first off, nobody wants to deal with Siege. or casters. Nobody wants to deal with Hogwarts. You know what I mean? Nobody likes that. That's a huge turnoff to a lot of people. Is dealing with that for so long. All right, that's just the first part. The second part that they can't deal with is the lack of rewards and incentives to go into it. Why would you go into Node Wars and Siege just to get stomped on by people who either outgear you or they have more casters than you? It's very annoying. There's so many more problems that I'm missing. Like I can just go on about it for so long, and it just blows my mind that they kind of really haven't thought about these kinds of things. And like you said, listen to the people that know what they're talking about within the community to bring those changes, those good changes into the game. I'm really just blown away that KR scene now. You said it's dead, and then I'm assuming that's the reason why we don't have it yet, because they realized that they fucked up again. So now we're gonna be waiting even longer, and nothing good is coming out of it.
Yeah. So I don't know what you say in terms of the rewards, right? For example, Siege and Nodes.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of, like, for example, a reward idea? Maybe some past streamers have put out is, for example, like instead of a castle giving you 20 or 30 billion, right? Instead, it gives you 200 or 300 billion silver. Like, what do you think of a change like that? Would that incentivize more guilds to show up for Siege?
It would probably do. I mean, it would 100% do it for console, because like right now, as is Calpheon, if a guild takes Calpheon right now, they get 12 billion. 12 to 14 billion. There is almost no incentive to even go for Calpheon unless you want the drop rate buff. Balanos is 6 to fucking 8 billion. Serenity is the same.
If we have, yeah.
So what's the incentive to even go for Siege if you could just do Node Wars and almost make the same amount as taking Castle without having to go have 100-man guild? There's no incentive at all. Boosting it up to what PC numbers are, I think you guys are getting 30 to 40 billion, or maybe somewhere in that range, for taking Castle, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah. So like, it's just, I don't know. Boosting the numbers in terms of money would be good, because obviously it brings more people want to go get that payout. So for PC, 100 billion would work. For a console, it would probably get toned down to maybe, I don't know, 20 to 30, maybe even 40 for taking the castle, or taking the territory of Medaya, Valencia, and Capian. It's just it's not enough unless you want the drop rate buff.
Yeah, they definitely need to, I think, give a little bit more money. But the only thing that popped in my mind while I was saying that, though, and hearing you guys talk about that, is like, I don't want guilds to like sit on it, like what's going on in KR, what you told me, and just kind of like just reap the rewards and just get paid like ultra money. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to be like that, because I don't want it to affect the market, and then people are only doing that for the money like that. I want it to. There has to be like a way that they can go about it to kind of like reward, I guess, multiple guilds, instead of having it to where only one guild can dominate the entire
like,
continent.
I can give you an example. Back in the days when Castle actually mattered and strong guilds actually wanted castles on NA, there was the Cho Nation Alliance and the BR Alliance, right? And pretty much, it wasn't so much about getting any kind of good fights. It was just about who has more guilds on which region. And if that guild has more force planted on one region, the other lines just literally wouldn't come. They would dodge. So it became more about just... It wasn't even about fights on the weekend. It was just about the politics and whoever got which region, which council, because they had more members or more guilds show up. So my only concern with like the increased reward system is that it's just going to bring back an alliance, like for example the Cho Alliance or another alliance that just wants to control one region. It's not really focused about getting any sort of good fights. And yeah, it's just more about the... I don't want it to be more about the rewards and less about the actual like fight, right? But my biggest issue with Siege, and I've been saying this for the longest time, is that I feel like, because there's like almost no, like on NA there's like probably less than 20 decent Node War guilds left, and for Siege there's like 5 or 6 Siege guilds left. Like, I feel like if you cap a region, you should be able to Node War during the week as well. Like, I don't know what your thoughts are on that as well.
I think that's actually one of the only good things of the node war changes. I looked briefly into it. I didn't look too much into it, but at least if you take
you
castle,
can't. You so with the if you own a region for siege, you can't node war, but you can merc out. But the change they made was you can own multiple regions now, essentially.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah. I guess like if you held castle, then it would actually be pretty good because you could continue going for nodes and realistically having what like you guys have 6 siege guilds, 5 siege guilds. 3 are going to be held up on the other castles, and that just leaves a few guilds to actually do node wars. For our scene, it's less guilds. It's 2 siege guilds at most. And if they're like right now, most of the big players right now are on territories. So node wars is just you just fight sticks all day. Like there's no actual guilds on node wars. Maybe you get a fight if you want to script it, but that just comes down to politics and egos. So fights really don't happen.
Yeah, it's the same shit, just as like you said from PC with politics and pretty much everything's the same.
Yeah. Oh, also onto that point, you talked about sticks, and I talked about that recently as well, where no one likes sticks on a node, and I feel like one of the changes that could prevent less sticks from dropping or less snipes is maybe have most of the cost in terms of node wars is placing down the fort and make it so that structures such as recovery flames and barricades and stuff cost minimal amounts of silver. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, like if there's any
No.
positives or negatives from that aspect.
That would work out pretty well because for a brief period on console at least, I know that there was guilds revolved around sniping nodes with sticks and just reaping rewards of 200 mil a payout for their players, and that was in the beginning of the game. But right now, as is, there's just multiple guilds now doing it to where the point where they're just dropping sticks, and it doesn't really affect them. It just costs like 5 mil to drop a stick. And if you win, you get 700 mil. If you lose, too bad. You lose like 5-10 mil. It's nothing. Making it cost maybe half the amount, 200 mil, 300 mil to place a stick, it would lower the rate of the amount of guilds that are dropping sticks. But then again, it would also just cause guilds to wait till the last minute and then place on a node that either has one or none.
Yeah, I mean, I think because in a typical node war, like if you have an actual fight, like the fight can easily cost you upwards of like 500 million silver if you constantly have to replace supplies and like structures and stuff. So I feel like the guilds that actually place for a fight, like you actually probably be saving them silver in some node wars essentially, and it will make it so that guilds that want to snipe or want to place down sticks think twice before spending 200 or 300 mil. So yeah, I agree with you on that point. Yeah.
It would definitely be less and less of those stick guilds because right now on console we definitely have a lot. I don't know about PC, but we have at least 5 off the top of my head.
It's like stick wars.
Yeah.
When we drop castle and we come down to node wars for a week, we literally fight a stick every single day. Unless we script an actual fight, it's a stick every single day. Sometimes it's actually 2 sticks. Most of the time, it's 1 stick every single day for a week of node wars.
Yeah, and it was like it's hard to like motivate people to come to just chop down stick, right? Like it's for me. So for example, last week we had this was after new node war reward changes, where you get the 25 magic melee or range DR, and then essentially we had 5 forts on a tier 3 40 man, and essentially all the 4 forts were just sticks, all snipes pretty much.
Wow.
And it's just like, okay, I thought it was gonna be a fight, but apparently it's just four snipe guilds. So
yeah, that's the same way it is right now for us. I mean, there is no obviously medals for that. Obviously, it's just the regular medals and the regular rewards. But sometimes we go into node wars spamming our Discord with sign up. There's 3 forts, and turns out 3/4 is 2 sticks and one other stick with 5 members that just showed up with 3 barricades on the, you know, like we're realistically wasting people's time. And that's I hate doing it too. Like I hate wasting people's time during node wars and siege, just because like why should they spend 30 minutes of their time just breaking down sticks when they could go be doing something else?
I don't know if you guys try to script fights on console, but it's come to the point on PC, on NA as well, where we have to like set up these fights previously on Discord, or
Yep.
else you just don't get any kind of fight at all, essentially.
Same here.
That is
Yep.
the same exact way where if we don't script the fight, we're not getting a fight for node wars or siege. Unless we interrupt a scripted fight, that is the only way that any guild is actually getting a fight. Is if you interrupt a scripted fight on siege or node wars. That is the only way. And then you're obviously getting more attitude. But other than that, it's just Discord. If not,
Yeah.
you're not
Doesn't
fighting
it doesn't it sound like really honestly pathetic when you say that out loud? Like that's what you have to do in order to get content. It's not just like, you know, whatever happens. You have to like do that. It just it's depressing.
It actually didn't used to be like that though. In the beginning of node
Yeah,
wars for us,
yeah.
it actually used to be like if you drop, you will actually get a fight and it will be fun. But now
Yeah.
slowly with the players dying out and leaving, it just started revolving more and more around politics. Where like if you want to get a fight, drop, you have to tell someone, you have to announce to all the guilds to see who wants to come. It's like a 2-hour process to even set up a node war that could last 30 minutes, an hour.
Yeah, that's... Yep, I
Well, most of
understand
the
that.
most of the GMs, most of the officers don't even want to try to set it up because sometimes it's a long conversation because obviously egos get in the way and
Yeah.
obviously some people don't want to do it because they're going to get farmed. They're not enough players, and then there also could be the chance where you could set up a node war for 2 hours and then next thing you know, one of the guilds back out because they don't have enough people.
Yep. I've heard that. I've heard that story probably 100 times since or throughout.
We've heard it. We've heard it numerous times for Siege, where we're setting up something, and last minute, 30 minutes before Siege hits, we get the Discord ping talking about, "Hey, we can't come."
Yeah.
Our stick's there. They'll send us a picture of their stick to go kill it, and you know, it sucks. I hate wasting people's time.
Yeah. And okay, so the last point I want to get through or talk about, sorry, is essentially guild strength, right? So for example, for NA on PC, you have a guild like Cho Nation, who's the strongest guild on NA right now, and whichever guild they fight, if it's not Black Rose Vertex, or like if it's not those two guilds, the 1v1 lasts like 10-15 minutes max, right? So what I'm talking about is a lot of guilds actively dodge stronger guilds because it's really demotivating or it's really depressing getting ran over by a strong guild like Cho Nation, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then your members start leaving, people start raging in guild chat and in comms, and the officers have to deal with it, right? So what I'm trying to say here, is there anything that Pearl Abyss can do to kind of help the newer tier 2 to tier 4 guilds kind of survive, or like at least have some more have a little bit more chance, or a little bit more time surviving against these stronger guilds when they're hitting their base and stuff like that?
The only thing I could probably think of right off the bat is maybe after a certain HP of your fort becomes significantly tankier, such as like RBF, where you drop below like 30%, 25%, you get like a DR buff. But then again, that would just make those smaller guilds get farmed even more because now they can't do as much. But it could turn around to the point where, you know, a smaller guild could last 10 to 20 minutes more than they would have already. Also, what else? Maybe you could cap down the node war sizes down a little bit more because there's like 80 man, 60 mans like on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Like no one is filling an 80 man besides one other guild. Like if another guild drops on that territory, they're not filling that. So I guess maybe more 20 mans or cut down the node sizes to 30s. I'm not sure, but most guilds can't actually even fill past 30 on console.
So
Yeah, I was thinking of something similarly to that. it's so hard to balance because it's like you said, yeah, because like how can the people that are getting farmed actually fight back if it was for the other way because they don't have that kind of gear, right, to obviously take down that fort or enough members to take down that fort. I was thinking even if maybe if the let's say like the stronger guild was killing them way more, obviously a higher KD ratio, it can obviously give them a buff for the losing side. But I don't know how you could balance that. It's really tough. It really is.
So I don't know what flame towers are like in Node Wars or Siege for you guys, but on NA essentially flame towers do next to no damage, especially if they're not enhanced. What do you think about like them giving flame towers like just doing a percentage of your max HP as damage if you get hit by them?
That would be pretty good because right now, like for you guys, PC, it does nothing. Even for us, it does like regular flame tower actually does nothing at all. Even enhanced sometimes almost does nothing at all. Like, yeah, we're C5, but realistically, if you stay at a range, you're just completely fine. And for
Yeah.
our guild is majority casters, so no one's actually getting hit by a flame tower. And it's pretty easy to target the flame tower from, if you're on Node Wars, from the outside of the barricades. For Siege, it's a little different, but maybe give it a obviously a little more damage or percentage of your health. Also increase the range of the flame tower's attack.
Yeah.
That would be pretty well because obviously it's enhanced, it just does more damage right now and it stays the same distance. The distance that it's actually attacking isn't very far. You could sit pretty pretty close to the barricades and rotate essays and be fine completely. It's not that actually far distance at all.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of these structures, like the base and also the annexes, are designed were designed for when BDO was released, when people had when soft cap was considered 240 or 250 AP, right? So now that especially on PC, people have a lot more gear, a lot more AP. These, like, for example, I'm sure you guys have seen clips of tier 2 or tier 3 forts being burned in like under 1 minute, right?
Yep.
Not like a single push. Like it's not fun for any guild to show up to a node war and have their fort burnt down in like under 5 minutes, right? So it's I definitely think that they need to buff up the structure HP by a decent amount.
Yeah.
As well.
Structure HP would actually do so much for the forts, but like we marked for T1s, I think last week or the week before the capped gear for T1s. T1s was actually not capped gear for a very long time until just recently. If not, the update actually didn't roll out yet. I'm not really sure. I assume they rolled out, but 4 of our members stayed at a T1 fort for probably like 5 minutes. The fort literally lost 50% of its health. Maybe the forts need to be tankier. Obviously, T1s is T1s, so now it's capped, so it's fine. But T2s, T3s, and T4s probably could get a little tankier. If not, like I said, maybe after a certain HP pool of the fort itself, maybe make it tankier, give it more resistance or more, I don't know, like a DR buff like RBF has right now, where you drop below 25%.
Yeah, no, it definitely needs to. There's a lot of stuff in this game like that. A lot of definitely, I completely agree. A lot of the structures are completely outdated, years old, man. That they need to definitely go back and update them. It's way too easy, especially with like a flame tower. You literally can just take that shit out from range, like it's nothing. Okay, all right, everybody, let's take out the flame tower. Instantly gone. Like
it takes
it's no struggle.
2 seconds for everything. Like recubs is
it's
an instant death. Supply depots gone.
Yeah.
Flame towers and the watches, obviously in their hands, they're a little more tanky, but still, it's not even 5 minutes before they die itself.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like that at all. It should definitely be way more tankier, and that would definitely put a lot more defense on for that fort, and definitely increasing the length of the fight.
Yep.
I think the fort itself definitely needs to be tweaked to where it's a lot more
It's ridiculous
HP,
right now. No.
or fix the recovs, the supply depots, and the annexes to the point where they actually have more HP and do more. Because as is right now, they don't do enough.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely agree with that.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, that's pretty much all I want to go through today with in the podcast. So I want to thank Guido and Fats for coming today and sharing the insight. Do you guys have any last words?
No. Appreciate for having us.
Yeah, thanks for
Awesome.
having me. And yeah, I hope Awakening Sage isn't going to be Suck Sage. So for that.
I
I
hope so. Not.
I really hope with these Succession Wizard nerfs and the Sage nerfs, more people want to come to large scale PvP. Node Wars of Siege.
Yes.
I hope so too. I
Yeah.
hope that it betters the game.
Yep.
Hopefully, yeah. Hope, like I said, it incentivizes more people to play.
I followed your Twitch as well, Guido. I'll chuck your link in my stream right now. But
I appreciate it, man. Yeah.
definitely, if you
Definitely
ever have
appreciate
like a
it.
lit fight going on, just let me know. Definitely would be interested in checking out some console Siege or Node Wars.
I'll definitely let you know if that ever happens.
Okay, awesome. All right. I'll see you guys later then. Have a nice day.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having us on.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks.
Have a
Bye.
great night. Bye.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. I think that went pretty well. Cux BDX, thank you very much for the 5 months. Appreciate it, dude.